Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week because we, for one, have the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves right here on the table in front of me, and number two, blade shows this weekend, so we'll see a lot of more cool stuff too, and you can follow along on this channel. But for now, let's get into these. All right, first thing this week, we've got technically three knives to choose from. New KnifeCenter exclusives with MagnaCut steel. What's MagnaCut steel, you ask? I'm glad you asked.
Follow along, everybody.
If you're unfamiliar, which if you're a knife enthusiast following this channel, I'm sure you already know what's going on. But just for those who are unfamiliar with it, it holds an edge very well. It is very tough, and it is very, very stainless. And it does all three of those categories very, very well, whereas pretty much any other steel on the planet does two categories very, very well. Pick two, and the third one, not quite as good. Yes, there are things that can outperform MagnaCut in edge retention, or in toughness, or in stainlessness for that matter, but to have all three rated really highly in one well-rounded steel makes it a pretty great choice for all kinds of things, including these exclusives. We're gonna start with a Bestech. This is the Slasher. It's been upgraded by Bestech for us with not only that MagnaCut steel blade, but also marbled carbon fiber handles and a matching marbled carbon fiber backspacer. Price on this, just under 135 bucks right now. And this is a substantial feeling knife, despite it not being overly huge. It's a 3.5-inch blade, you know, on the larger side of average, but still not a huge knife, but plenty of reach, especially with this powerful modified sheep's foot style blade right here that can really, really tackle some heavy jobs with that blade geometry. It's gonna slice well enough too, and thanks to that swedge along the back, it's just gonna be a pleasant cutting experience all around. The handles, as mentioned, marbled carbon fiber and really smartly beveled top and bottom right here. We'll see if we can get that to pick up. It's almost like a hollow grind on a blade, but on the handles, they've got that concave milling there. Feels very nice. Reversible deep carry wire pocket clip, nice classy touch, and nice action from the blade as well. You've certainly got that flick going on. Just simply pull that ambidextrous and finger safe operation lock back and flick the blade open and closed to your heart's content. So I've talked about this, might have been last week. This is one of those knives that, despite having ball bearings, it almost feels like washers in the pivot here. It kind of treads the line in between in terms of actual feel. In fact, if I weren't actually looking at it and can confirm that it is indeed ball bearings, I would say it feels more like a washer-based pivot. So a little bit more of that smoothness as opposed to like that glass, like raindrops skittering off of glass type of feel that ball bearings can give you. But it's a very nice knife. The next knife, if you prefer your MagnaCut on an American-made knife, I'm really excited about this one because I'm just a big fan of this knife in general, and we've got a great relationship with the company as well. Not that we don't have a great relationship with Bestech, but I happen to just personally like these guys. And that is Hogue, who make the SIG knives, such as this SIG K320. And these two new exclusives not only look great, I think it is the best version of the K320 they have yet released. It's also the only ones out there with MagnaCut. And the price on these is very, very good for an American-made knife of this type of quality with these materials, just under $162 right now. And to me, that's honestly astonishing. We've got two blade shapes. You've got the Tanto profile right here. Comes in with a 3.5-inch length, stone-washed finish. So there's a few things going for this that none of the other K320s have. Our original K320 exclusive had synthetic handles and stone-washed blade, and that was the first time, and to this date, still, apart from this, the only time they've released that knife without a blade coating. Now that original version of our exclusive is discontinued, this is the only way you can get a non-coated blade, apart from the high-end collector's edition. I did forget about that. I don't know why I'm pointing at Thomas over here behind the camera when I said it.
Yeah, I don't need your caveats.
There was one of those too, but in terms of like regular models, this is how you can get it without a coated blade. And this is also the only way to get it with the aluminum handles without an inlay. Rather than an inlay, we've got the milling pattern, which was actually cribbed from the high-end collector's carbon fiber versions and placed on here for us. Looks the part, I mean, just looks fantastic, and you see it even better on this knife than you can on the carbon fiber versions. And the knife feels even more balanced in hand as a result of the use of the aluminum here. The previous versions, the synthetic handle versions, might feel a little blade heavy to some, but this one to me just fits real nicely, fills the hand in a quite satisfying way. You've also got a drop point, and I'll use that version to show you the other features we've got going on the blade. Slightly higher geometry on this drop point, so a little slicier than the Tonto. We've got a 4-position pocket clip, something you don't usually see on a crossbar lock. You don't usually get a tip down option, but you've got it here. And I like the louvers, for lack of a better word, right here, that give you some traction when you go to pull that deep carry pocket clip from your pocket, because it does bury quite nice and deep down in there for you. Action, we've got washers in the pivot here, so less of a worry about dust and grit and grime getting in the pivot than you might worry about with washers. And the action is buttery smooth. Full grip on the back section here, but you've also got the ability to choke up into that forward finger choil. And the nub there gives you a little bit of protection from your finger hitting that sharpened edge, which is a nice consideration. Now, the only, I would say maybe downfall of this knife, downfall is a strong word actually, is the thumb hole opening right here. It's hard to flick it with your thumb, but it works well on the reverse flick, and a deliberate thumb open works fine. It's just maybe a little small for super easy thumb opening, but let's be honest, does that matter to me as a crossbar lock lover who's just gonna do that anyway? I would say no. You make the decision for yourself, of course. Super good value. Hogue builds an amazing knife, one of the sharpest factory edges out of the box across the industry, and a great value on these exclusives. Next up, we've got Benchmade returning to the balisong genre with the Necron right here. Benchmade actually got their start with balisongs or butterfly knives. In fact, they've actually using their vintage balisong logo before the company was called Benchmade on this Necron. But they kind of exited the space a little bit ago, hadn't really put out a lot of new models for a while and let them kind of discontinue after a bit. This is the return, and it has a bit more of the kind of flair of modern trends in the balisong space incorporated into it, and definitely more considerations for the flipping and recreational balisong user crowd going on. Price on them, well, the trainer right here with the blue G10 handles and 440C blade, I don't care, I don't know why it's 440C, it's not like you're gonna put an edge on it. Doesn't need to hold an edge. This is coming in at about $360. The Jade G10 version with an S30V scimitar blade coming in $450, and a version with burgundy G10 and a black stonewashed blade is about $495. The action on these is, well, I'll use the word that I used on the Hogue a moment ago. It is buttery smooth. It just feels good, even to me, a far from expert flipper right here. It just feels fantastic. And you've got the option of these adjustable length handles. They do come attached with these handle extenders, but you can remove those to give you a little bit of a more compact package when folded. Now that's going to allow you to fine tune it to your flipping style. And to that end, they've also got some tungsten weights that can be placed in the handle to change the balance a little bit as well, again, to suit your preference. And again, in a nod to the modern flippers, no latch to get in the way of the acrobatics, which is a feature preferred by many. There you go. These did technically release last Thursday, and due to a gross oversight on my part, I forgot to include them in the video, so apologies to the Benchmade folks for that. Next up, we've got a Zero Tolerance, a new version of their 545, which, while it is kind of a big departure from the knives that originally made ZT famous, in that it is very thin and slicey, it is one of my favorite ZTs that they've ever done, because it is one of the most everyday friendly in terms of ease of carry and absolute slicing perfection. I mean, look at that thin blade with a full flat grind that is a crazy efficient slicer. This is the 545 BLUCF, meaning blue carbon fiber on the front. In typical ZT signature fashion, we've got a titanium frame lock on the back, which provides 100% stable lockup. No wiggle on that MagnaCut blade whatsoever. MagnaCut, come on, good stuff. 3.2 inches on that blade length. It is a drop point. This is a convex line from the top of the hump to the tip right there. So it's not a clip point, as I've heard some people refer to it. It is indeed a drop point, and it looks distinctive, which is hard to do with a drop point, let me tell you. Deep carry pocket clip. It is mounted inside the titanium handle right there, as you can see. Keeps it nice and clean and makes a very deep carry. And outside, no one's gonna know you're carrying a knife unless you're another knife person and you go, that's one of those things. Just has that nice, slim, almost pen-like appearance to that clip. No branding, nothing to shout about what's going on inside. And it is reversible if you would like to carry that on the left side as well. We do have a ball bearings in the pivot here and a flipper tab for deployment. Let's check it out. Yeah, feels good. There's definitely enough there to grab onto, and yet it's nice and subtle when it's open, just kind of furthering its identity as an easy to use, very friendly, everyday carry type of slicer, and I'm here for it. All right, we're continuing to get into a lot of really cool Glykons from Microtech lately. Actually, a bunch of new Microtech that we could talk about, but could actually fill the table with new versions right now. We don't have that kind of space, unfortunately. But the Glykon is an awesome knife. They start at about $535 for the standard versions, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. This is one of the signature series Glykons that is just kind of done up to the nines. Price on this, $1,573 right now. We've got a black DLC coated blade, M390 steel, and that DLC still maintains a bit of the shine of the blade. It is double-edged, serrated on the top edge with a tiny section of non-serrated straightness right here at the tip to maintain that nice needle-like thing. Check out the handles. Titanium inlays with a, what are they calling it? Galactic acid finish. Very, very cool stuff indeed. Showcases the new pocket clip and the new Torx fasteners instead of the old proprietary fasteners. It should make it easier for users to maintain at home. Reversible clip, which is nice because everything about the controls are ambidextrous as well. Not just the standard firing switch here at the top, side, whatever you want to call it, but as you can see, it's got two other surfaces as well. So instead of firing the double action OTF from the top switch, you could use the side switch if you like. You could even close it using a double pull on those side switches as well, which gives you just a couple other of nice options when you want to play around with your pokey stab thing, which this is pretty much one of the ultimate expressions of that taken to the extreme. Next up, we've got an MKM to take a look at, and I'm realizing now this is a fairly a less inexpensive week. So for the folks that are looking for budget knives, I don't have a lot for you today. I'm sorry, but we do have some new versions of the MKM Hero to talk about. Not just this one here with the Sure Touch handles. We've also got one with denim micarta, which looks very good, as well as an olive wood handle, which surprisingly wasn't part of the lineup before. $295 and some change, sorry, $289 for this change. Hey, I just gave you a discount. For the this version, just under $270 for the micarta, just under $280 for the olive wood right now. What you've got is a nice broad drop point blade coming in just under 3.5 inches with M390 steel for excellent edge retention. High flat grind with a stone washed finish that's going to hide scratches from use pretty nicely. Blade is slightly on the thicker side, but not prohibitively so, especially when combined with that high flat grind. It's still gonna slice pretty well indeed, and that nice crown spine on top, just a nice touch of class, of course. We've got integral titanium bolsters, blue pivot collar, and that Sure Touch, which is just such a cool material. It's layers of rubber and layers of G10 stacked on top of each other, so you get some of that kind of rubber-like tack without the same kind of give that most rubberized handles can come with, and gives you more grip as a result, along with that stability. As far as the action, we do have a mid-mounted lockback, and I believe these are mounted on bearings as well, much like the Viper Hero. Hero? No, this is the Hero. The Viper... Turn. Thank you, Thomas. Which I'm pretty sure Viper is the one making this. They're one of the 4 companies in the MKM partnership, and that knife does have ball bearings. I think this might too. Certainly flicks open like it could have. Feels really good. Nice broad handle shape, gives you plenty to grab onto there for heavier tasks. Reversible deep carry tail-mounted pocket clip. You can never go wrong with something like that. Next up, another in the Case Bridgeline series that you might have seen in our SHOT Show coverage earlier this year. The Longhouse has now arrived, coming in at about $160. Yes, Case Knives, the slip joint company, is making this new Bridgeline series that sits in between, bridging their 2 lines, their traditional folders and their modern frame and liner locking flippers. This one has a bit more maybe classic Case DNA, while you get the modern conveniences as well. And they're made right there on the same production lines in Pennsylvania as well. But what do we have here? We've got a roughly 3-inch clip point blade with that harpoon style tip with the straight clip on it. Stonewashed finish here as well. 20 CV stainless steel, which is the American-made equivalent to something like M390, so edge retention is going to be very good indeed. Aluminum handles with integral bolsters, nice beveled section here at the front, so if you needed to get up there with some pinch grips and get closer up to the blade, that's going to be pretty comfy. And micarta inlays on this one with a single position, roughly, pretty deep carry pocket clip. I was about to say almost deep carry, but it looks pretty deep carry. We also have a lock here with that inset liner lock, not a slip joint in this case. And action here is provided by this top flipper. Let me see. Yep, works just fine with the index finger, which is quite nice. Not a super crisp detent, but it rolls quite smoothly. And that also makes it really, oh man, actually, I'm really liking that. I think one of the problems with me with front flippers sometimes is it's hard to overcome the detent. This actually has a really, really smooth roll. I dig that. There you go. The Longhouse, now available. And this is also going to bridge us between, oh, never mind. I was gonna say it was gonna bridge us between the folders to the fixed blades. We do have one more folder to talk about real quick.
That segue went off the cliff.
Something about a Longhouse, I don't know. We've got the Helle Raud M folder. Here it is. I like Helle a lot. I'm of Norwegian descent, and they make beautiful knives in Norway, so I've always had a fondness for them. You don't see too many folders from them. Here's one, the Raud M, as I mentioned. $149 for this. You've got red birchwood handles with super cool styling. It's a 3-finger grip for me. I do have slightly larger than average hands though, so your mileage may vary. And a reversible tail-mounted pocket clip, which again, that's just my favorite genre of pocket clip right there. Interestingly, it's set up for left side carry right out of the box, but as you can see, 2 screws, spin it around, no problems for you. The blade is 2 3/4 of an inch long, 12C27 Sandvik steel with a Scandi grind. I mean, this is a bushcraft whittler's knife all around in a pocket format, which is pretty cool. Decidedly a 2-hand opener though, as you can see there with the nail nick, and very sharp out of the box. Interestingly, I'm trying to make this make sense, and you let me know if you think this is where they were going with it. But when you sharpen a Scandi grind, you lay the bevel flat on your stone and sharpen thusly. It's very easy to find your angle as a result, but you can't actually get your stone all the way down the sharpened edge on this knife because part of it's sitting between the handles. Like I said, I'm trying to make there be a reason for it. Let me know what you think. You're never gonna snag what you're cutting on a sharpening choil there. Let's see, perfect example. Well, that MKM, for example, has that sharpening choil right there. They're not the only ones to do it. I'm certainly not picking on them. You know, Bestech has something like that. The CT has something like that. The Microtech, the case, it's a pretty common thing. But that is, some people don't like if you're cutting through like rope, plastic, any kind of sheeting, anything like that, and you push too far forward, you can get your stuff caught in between there and it's kind of gonna arrest your cut. That's never going to happen with this because it's doing something that even a lot of fixed blades can't match, because that edge truly goes all the way to the handle. So no matter where you get your blade into a cut, you're always on cutting edge. There you go. Let me know what you think. It feels really good. I love the lock back here. I love the aesthetics and the size of it. It's just, to me, the bushcraft soul that is buried deep inside me, maybe not so deep some days, is just very enamored with this piece right here. How about something Helle is more known for, and that is their fixed blades, and this is the Nord, which is probably, well, definitely the most beefy, most hard use Helle I have ever held. Comes in $249. You've got a almost 6-inch blade. This is 5 3/4 from tip to handle scale. It's also a full tang knife, something that is rarer in their lineup. Most of their knives feature stick tangs, which is a more traditional method of Norwegian knife making. But this is a nod to like the survival knife. If you're going to cross a bushcraft style knife with a survival knife, this is a cool form factor for that. Plenty of handle to grab onto. I did mention I have slightly larger than average hands, and as you can see, I've got plenty of space on this handle. Even if I was wearing a pair of thick gloves, I would not be crowded on this, and it feels super comfy too. Check out that shape, that contour. Very, very nice. The curly birch is accented by some nice thin black pinstripes. Looks really good. Pommel here at the back. It's going to be very comfortable for doing drilling tasks. If you need to palm the end of that, that's very nice. The blade is 12C27, or sorry, no, the blade is 14C28N, which is slightly less tough than 12C27, but even better edge retention than that particular steel. And of course the Scandi grind, which works oh so well at carving wood, but the blade's not so thick that you can't do other general slicing tasks as well. I mean, that's probably, it's about, I'd say 3/8 of an inch. Doubting myself, what's like 3/32, or is that a full 1/8? Yep, that's a full 1/8 of an inch thick. I was thrown off by how long it was, maybe. It's a good length, however. That's actually about as thick as I personally enjoy using Scandi ground knives on. Any thicker, it starts to get more wedge-like in, slicier cuts. Still works great on wood carving, don't get me wrong, but I love this this type of compromise in terms of thickness overall. We got a sheath. It's over here. It is leather with some nice compass rose tooling on the front, and it sits nice and deep on that package right there. Next up, Dawson knives with a very cool Mark II fighter or / K-bar inspired design. This is the War Dog, a limited edition, 6 3/4 blade, MagnaCut steel, $665 for these. Slightly shorter than the classic K-bar, but you could probably agree that this is clearly inspired by that genre of knife. We've also got a higher hollow grind on here, so maybe a little slicier for general purpose usage. 3/16 of an inch thick for some sturdiness there at the spine. A tweaked style or size of crossguard here. It's shorter on the back or thumb side, which means it's going to be easier to get in front of that guard if you're needing to stabilize that with your thumb. And let's see, if you don't have super large fingers, mine are a little bit on the wider diameter size, you could probably use this front section here as a finger choil for choking up, but it's certainly going to work for that extraction from the target purpose that often serves as well. We've got stacked leather for the handles, a much more complex shape than your run-of-the-mill K-bar, and it feels very good in the hand. It's not round, it's more oval in shape and has the palm swell too, so it's less likely to twist on you. And then the butt cap there at the back. Overall, super, super cool package. And we already told you why MagnaCut is cool stuff too. Sheath is very nice. I like it. It is leather with a retention strap, and in a nod I'm starting to see more and more of, and I'm happy for that, is the retention strap is facing backwards or facing towards the rear of the person who's would be carrying this on their right side, their right hip. So as you're moving through stuff, it's less likely to snag and come open than if it were facing forward and you're moving through stuff. I like that. The retention post is nice and easy to use as well without having to worry about a snap. Very cool. Next up, we got some Toors to torque about. No, I'm sorry about that, Thomas.
This is the knife Toor.
Is it just because I'm not getting...
Costs more than a nickel.
Is it just because I'm not getting enough sleep right now that my dad jokes are not up to my usual high quality standards?
We'll have to check the tape, see what it was like with your last game.
Well, we have 3 fixed blades here. I'll mention them real quick. The Valor Mark I Patriot. We have the Mullet Patriot and the Serpent T Patriot. The Patriot is referring to the handle makeup in this case. We've got a gray G10, almost white on the outside, and liners of blue and red, giving you the red, white, quote unquote, and blue. Red, white, and blue handles there. All of these are featuring, I almost said all of these are featuring M4. The Valor right here is actually featuring Crewwear blade steel and is slightly thinner. I lied. It's not thinner. Just the the thing here at the top. I need more sleep. The swedgy bit here at the top was throwing my eye off a little bit. Anyway, 5.5-inch Crewwear blade on this particular version right here. Very combat focused, kind of, K-bar inspired or Mark II fighter inspired as well, I would say. Just a little bit smaller, kind of maybe sitting a little closer to the Mark I fighter than the Mark II fighter, if you know what I mean. But yeah, plenty of traction thanks to the milled mountain style tread on here. Bashing point at the bottom. The Serpent T for Tonto is going to give you that concealable fixed blade form factor with a heavy duty retention ring there at the back for your pinky or index finger, depending on how you're gripping it. This is featuring M4 steel rather than Crewwear, so a bit more on the toughness scale of things versus the Crewwear, although not as stainless. And then we've got the more general purpose drop point blade with a hint of recurve on the Mullet, 4-inch blade, M4 blade steel on this as well. And they all come with a KG gun coat finish, which is a cool feature too. Yeah, very nice. This was my choice of these 3. The size works for me. The handle feels the best to me. Your mileage may, of course, vary, but I think that's a cool and distinctive design right there. Sheaths on all of these are Kydex. Let's see, here's one. They don't come with belt attachment hardware, but large tech locks will be compatible with this hole spacing there. Pretty basic, or non-complicated stuff that I don't need to go into too much detail explaining, I don't think. So I won't. We've also got 3 different colors of their new their new titanium pry bar multi-tool keychain device here from Toor Knives. That's it. Titanium Keychain Multi-Tool is the name of it. Features-wise, for a $50 price point, you've got the prying tip with the nail puller in the middle that'll also work on some flathead driver tasks, of course. Cap lifter on the side, for after work. You've got a few different sizes of hex wrench right here. We've also got what looks like I haven't taken out to confirm, it looks like a number 1 sized Phillips bit with some O-rings holding it in. You can swap that out for whatever you like if that's not to your liking. And a 1/4-inch bit driver hole here on the side. It's not going to click into place. You will have to kind of push down as you turn to utilize it, but maybe the O-rings can help hold it in a little bit in the process. They feel stable, made in the USA. The price is not too bad as well. Oftentimes US-made things like this from some of these more specialty shops like Toor come in a bit more expensive. So at $50, that could be seen as quite a bargain. And last but not least, one more pry tool. This one is imported and it doesn't have as many features, but that is the Shark Bomb pry bar from Vosteed, coming in at $39. Titanium with a pocket clip, a reversible deep carry wire pocket clip. Versatility is maybe less important on something without a blade to deploy, but hey, you got it right here nonetheless. I like they're calling it the Shark Bomb, and this, it's got like that bomb style outline, but it also has like this vertebrae pattern or rib cage pattern, whatever you want to call it, engraved on the back. As far as tools, you've got the prying tip with the nail puller, that, again, can do some flat, heady stuff in a pinch as long as you've got clearance and you've got the bottle opener. So there you go. 2 colors. You've got this dark stonewash tide that has a bit of a, actually on the pictures it looks kind of bronzy, but here in person it looks kind of coppery, which is cool. And you've also got a gray titanium option as well. All right, that's all I've got to show you for this week. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and let me know, well, you don't have to let me know. If you want to get your hands on any of the knives, you can click the links to take you to KnifeCenter.com. But as you do, also don't forget that, again, Blade Show is this weekend. We're going to be bringing you coverage of all the coolest new releases, and we hope you check it out and see what's coming down the pike, because it's always a good time had by us, and we hope it's a good time had by you as well. While you're over at the Knife Center, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, needing some sleep, and as Thomas behind the camera, we're signing off. See you next time.